Hello, everybody. Robert Phillips, the rock and roll speaker, also known as the Funnelman. Hope you're doing great today. And I want to welcome you back to Step Into Your Future. That's the name of my podcast. And as a reminder, if you get value from my podcast, please review it, share it, download it, like, and comment. And the whole thing about Step Into Your Future is I'm trying to reach as many people as possible, okay? As many people as I can reach. And I want to help them transition from whatever they're doing now and get more involved in online marketing because that's what Step Into Your Future is all about. It's all about learning online marketing and online marketing techniques and skills. Okay, that's the whole reason I'm doing this podcast because I want people to know that the only way you can step into your future is by understanding and start getting involved in online marketing because with online marketing, you can definitely make some extra income, okay? If you already have a full-time job, go ahead and keep your full-time job if that's what you want to do. But you can make some supplemental income if you get involved in online marketing, okay? It's really a wonderful thing. There are brick and mortar stores that are closing on a daily basis because everything's going online. And so why not start today? Start learning online marketing. And I'll guarantee you're going to be very happy once you start learning it. It's really a lot of fun. So today we're going to talk about motivation. Now, you may have heard other people explain motivation, but we're going to talk about motivation and we're going to talk about how to get motivation. Okay, if you don't have any motivation, it's kind of tough to get through life, isn't it? And then we're going to talk about putting motivation into second gear. All right, you guys ready to go? Rock on, man, rock on. I'll tell you what, uh, let's start out with what is motivation? What's your idea of motivation? Here we go. Motivation. All right, make it happen. Can you tell in my voice a little bit that I'm motivated? You betcha I am. Every time I do my podcast, I want to be motivated because I don't want people going to sleep during my podcast. I want them to sit up and listen, okay? Because I really do have a lot of information that can help you. Just to give you a few credentials, I'm a published author. I'm a pilot. I'm also a public speaker. And I love doing what I'm doing. I'm an entrepreneur. I've made thousands of dollars online and continue to do so. And I want to relate a message to you today about motivation, okay? So, this is going to be fantastic. And I really hope you're with me. So let's get busy. Let's get motivated. All right. So, why is there so much, uh, talk about motivation? Well, because without motivation, you don't have the normal strength to even want to pursue a goal, let alone any goals, okay? And remember that this is a psychological feature within us. We need to do things that make us aware that we are motivated, okay? We have to have motivation to get things done. Just about anything done, you've got to have motivation. So it's hard to think of anything that can be accomplished in history without motivation, some kind of motivation. And try to think of something that you have, brought to fruition in the past that you weren't motivated to do. Just, stop for a second and try to ask yourself, how did I get that done? Well, the only way you got it done is you were motivated to do it. So the reason that you can't think of anything, okay, would be because you have to be motivated to create a goal and move towards it. That's why motivation is so important, okay? When you're taking daily steps every single day and you are making movement in a certain direction, then you want to absolutely go in the direction of the goal or the objective you're trying to reach. I hope all of this is making sense to you. If you're not a motivated person, I guarantee you that if you stay to the end of this thing, you're going to learn some things about motivation, especially about what is motivation, how to get motivated, and also how to put your motivation into second gear. Okay? So, you know, you're actually listening to me today because of the motivation it took for me to start a podcast. I've only been doing this podcast just for a little while, but the podcast would not be here had I not been motivated to do it. I've been thinking about it for quite a while. You know, I kept telling myself, wow, podcast, what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about? Am I going to be able to do this? Is it going to be worth my time? Am I going to be able to help people whenever they listen to my podcast? Am I going to be able to create a podcast, that is worthy of a podcast? Is my audio clear? Am I making sense? Am I delivering value to my listeners? And so all of that I had to take into consideration, and I had to be motivated to start my podcast. Okay. And that was my goal. I was sitting in my living room one evening, and my wife and I, we're just sitting there talking, and we're just doing normal activities, watching TV or doing something. She's back there fixing dinner. I'm feeding the dogs, and just normal stuff. And I said, honey, you think I ought to do a podcast? She said, well, yeah, if you want to do a podcast, do a podcast. I go, fantastic. I go, I think I will, because after you're married for a little while, my wife and I, we've been together for 31 years, a little over 31 years. But she always supports me in what I want to do. And that's what's so fantastic about this. So, it's not just because of me, it's because of her also that I'm doing a podcast. Okay, let me give you an idea here. I also am a published author. I mentioned that just a second ago. Now, do you think I had to be motivated to write a book? Absolutely, you got to be motivated to write a book. And how I did that is I was so motivated that every time I would go into Barnes and Noble and I'd look around and I'd see tens of thousands of books, I would always ask myself, wow, why can't I do that? Why can't I write a book? I mean, there's tens of thousands of people in here that have written a book. Why can't I? And so from that motivation, okay, I finally became a published author. And to be quite honest and truthful with you, I dropped out of high school at the 9th grade. However, to let you know how life goes, uh, a few years later, I actually went back and I got my high school diploma and then went on to college. And so, whatever your circumstances are today, it really doesn't matter, because you can make that change and you can get motivated to do the things that you want to do. Also, I am a musician. I play Van Halen, ZZ Top, Leonard Skinner, Aerosmith, AC/DC, and I love rocking out on my guitar. But when I first started, I had to be motivated. Okay, I hope you're hearing what I'm saying here. I had to be motivated to learn the guitar. And so, uh, back when I started the guitar, I was a very young man. I was, I believe, age 12 or 13, somewhere in there. Uh, I I might even have been 14, but I think I was actually 12 or 13. And, I wanted to be Mr. Cool. I wanted to, let the chicks know and the babes know that I could play guitar. And there was also some bad habits that came with being cool, but that's another book, okay? Anyway, my life continued. I joined the military and jumped out of airplanes for a living, okay? I got married. I had a child, my son, and I got divorced, got a job, lost a job, became homeless, got remarried, got a job, and here we are today. Lost a job, became an entrepreneur, okay? And here we are today. And I tell you what, it's really awesome the things that you can do when you're motivated, but you got to be motivated, okay? So, let's actually give the definition for motivation. And it is a psychological feature that arouses one to action toward a desired goal. So let me say that again. Motivation is a psychological feature that arouses one to action toward a desired goal or objective. So now that we know that, you know, uh, let me just say this. You don't want to be a person who lives life without purpose or meaning, do you? Surely not. Surely you don't want to be a person who just really has no goals. They have no meaning in their life. Maybe you've heard the term where the guy is out in the ocean and he's on a sailboat and the sails are not working. So he's just drifting aimlessly in the ocean, going nowhere fast. Okay. He's just kind of going around and around and around. You've got to have direction in life. Okay. So, you know, what you want to do is you want to go to a place and you want to think about what you want for you and your family, and all we're talking about here is motivation. And if you want to set goals and objectives, then get motivated and do it. Remember, motivation means it arouses one to action towards a desired goal or objective. So let's get busy here. Get motivated. Do something, okay? So, have you ever asked yourself this question? Some people are motivated and other people are not. So, why do some people look as though they're always motivated? Maybe it's because they actually kept the definition in their mind. Remember what I said, okay? Remember what I said in the previous section that you really need to memorize the definition so it becomes part of you and your everyday life. If you memorize the meaning of motivation, then when you apply motivation, it makes more sense and it gives meaning to your goals and your objectives. I hope all this is making sense to everybody listening. All my listeners, I hope that you are receiving some value out of this. I hope you're listening. And the main thing I want you to do is get motivated and start crushing your goals and your dreams and your objectives. You've got to get motivated. So, um, let's talk about how. How are we going to get motivated? Okay? Because this all matters. A lot of people, they just don't have any energy, or they just don't want to do anything, or they don't feel good, or they're sick, or they're tired, or they ate too much food. They're not feeling well. They never exercise, they never walk, they never do anything, and so they wonder how come they're not motivated. So let's talk about how to get motivated. And I realize, that I ask people to get up, get outside, go for a walk, do something, get a plan, get motivated. And so now we're going to talk about a few ways that you can actually, inject motivation into your life. You ready? Okay, number one, get plenty of rest, okay? If your bed is crappy, throw it out and get a new bed. That way when you do wake up, you're going to feel refreshed and ready for the day. You're going to be ready to seize the day, as they say, right? Carpe diem. And so you also want to feed your body with nutrients. I tell you what, I used to eat tons and tons of meat, and I still am a meat eater. I'm a carnivore. However, now I've mixed some vegetables in with that, and it really does help your energy level. So feed your body with nutrients. So number one was get plenty of rest. Number two was feed your body because this is your vehicle. This is the vehicle that you're going to get motivated inside of. Okay. So you've got to treat your body with respect. What about work the mind? Do you think that has anything with motivation? Absolutely, it does. Work the mind, work your mind. I saw an illustration the other day. It was an image of a brain, and it had two arms on it, and each arm had a dumbbell. And the whole meaning was exercise your brain. So work your mind. And you know how you can work your mind? I say this quite a bit, but I want people to start doing it. It's called a 30-30-30. In other words, listen to audio 30 minutes a day, read 30 minutes a day, and do that for 30 days. Okay? Listen to audio, read, and do it for 30 days. And it will become a habit. And then after that, you don't even think about it. You just do it. Okay, number 4 is be creative. If you use your creative mind, believe me, it's going to help your motivation tremendously. And number 5, take action. Get busy. You got to do something with the information. Just like this podcast. You know, maybe you're listening to this podcast, and after the podcast, you're going to go in there and munch out on some potato chips or something and sit in front of the TV for 8 to 10 hours. Okay? Why don't you listen to this podcast, take a few notes, and then start getting motivated to start reaching some of your goals, objectives, and dreams. Okay? So, there are so many things that you can do that will help you get motivated. It's, unbelievable, unbelievable. Now, you know, how do you how do you actually take that a step further? Not just getting motivated. How do you take your motivation and you put it into second gear? Okay? So how do you do that? Because a lot of people, they're motivated, but they're only in first gear. Okay? How do you take that motivation and put it into second gear? In other words, get really super motivated, right? So, what in the world am I talking about here? Second gear. Okay? What the heck? I'm talking about going through life in idle or first gear. Why do you want to go through life in idle or first gear? You go around one time. Don't you think you ought to kick some ass and really make it happen? You've only got this one shot. So, please don't live this way. Don't live in idle or first gear. There's too much different experiences and too many wonderful things to learn to just be messing around in idle with no direction in your life. Okay? You're out there in the sailboat, the sail doesn't work, and you're just floating and going around circles. You're going nowhere. So why not get some direction? Okay? Uh, a person a person in life who takes an hour to do a 15-minute job, don't be that person. Okay? If it's a 15-minute job, get it done in 10, right? Doesn't that make more sense? You can do a whole lot more things if you get it done early, right? And, look at all the time that's wasted, when you live your life in first gear. You don't want to live your life in first gear. So start today and put your life in second gear and get moving. After a few months, you'll look back, you'll see how much happier you are. You'll look at all the areas of your life and you'll see things are moving forward a little bit better for you now, okay? Since you've decided to get motivated in your life, okay? Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here. I really appreciate everybody, all my listeners, and everybody who downloads all my podcasts. Uh, Please like and share and comment and share and share and share and review. And I tell you what, at the bottom of this podcast, there are some notes. If you want to send me an email, just send it to robert@thefunnelman.com. And it's like I said, everything is in the notes below the podcast. And if you actually want a free consultation, if you really want to talk to me, because I would love to help you, go to thefunnelman.com, and it's down in the notes below the podcast here. And as soon as you go to thefunnelman.com, click on the link at the top that says free consultation and set up a day and a time that'll work for you. And we will get together on a Skype call and we will talk for 15 or 20 minutes and share ideas and we'll get motivated together. I tell you what, does that sound good? All right, this is Robert Phillips, the rock and roll speaker, also known as the Funnel Man. I really do appreciate my listeners. Thank you. Please share this, like, and comment because I'm trying to spread the message about step into your future. And remember, step into your future is all about learning online marketing skills and techniques to take you and your family, to reach your dreams and your goals and your objectives. And you can do that. Believe me, you need to learn online marketing because that is where the future lies. Okay? Have a great day. We'll talk to you real soon. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode.